And welcome back to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk.
You bet. We're here and the energy is great in the gym. It's great to be here, Beans, fresh off of being able to see the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yes, we did.
Separately, but it still felt like we were together. So hope that's not weird, but I went there.
It's the bond that we have.
It is. It is. We're in the summer, everyone. The summer movie season is here. What a great way to kick it off. We're excited to talk about it. Super pumped. Along with that, of course, we'll have our usual news and notes and a classic JP and the Beans top 5. So that hasty introduction aside, we got a lot to get to. So let's get to it before we hit on the Mandalorian and Grogu. Beans, we got a second Lanterns trailer.
Yes, we did.
Full Lanterns trailer. What'd you think?
Well, a whole lot better than that first one, huh?
Oh my.
We got a lot of...
That felt a lot more lanterns than the first one.
Yeah, we got suits, actually. We got some lantern suits.
Right?
We got a
The
grumpy...
ring in use.
Right. Ring in use.
Novel idea.
Grumpy Hal. Fantastic. Can't wait for that. We did get a nice little flash of Guy Gardner.
Yep.
So, looks like we're seeing a young Jon Stewart as well. We're in for something special, I think.
Truly, I was just delighted to see the ring in action. Like, you can overthink this if you're the folks that are in the kitchen putting this meal together on, hey, yeah, listen, I know we're doing a lantern show, but you know what would be really cool is if we hardly use the Green Lantern powers. Yeah, it's not why we're watching it. You know, you can make it something else. That's fine. Make a different show, but don't make a Green Lantern show if that's really your itch. So now, just because this trailer got a little bit heavier into the Green Lantern actual action doesn't mean that's what we're going to get in the show. That is very much to be determined. But from a marketing perspective, it was certainly a stronger foot forward.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I'm excited to see this move forward. Really got to show the relationship that Jon and Hal are going to have, which it sounds like Jon is going to have his hands full with his mentor. So,
oh dear. Yeah. I'll be very curious. So obviously we've got aged up Hal here, or at least further down the line Hal. I'll be very curious what this show gives us in terms of what Hal's been through already, right? Because his comic history is dense with a lot of negatives, right? So there's plenty of options that the show could choose to draw from. For those of you unaware, Hal Jordan, like many a comic book character, has died and then come back. Because comics, I don't think we're going to get anything that extreme in this show, but Parallax, right? What are the odds that Hal's already tangled with the likes of Parallax? We know Sinestro is out there.
Officially defected.
Yep. Officially already out of the Green Lantern Corps. To what extent has he built up the Yellow Lantern Corps? No idea. And that's something that this show, up to this point in its marketing, has done a really intentional job of, is not revealing a darn thing about truly who the bad guys are, who the antagonists are. It's a lot of self-conflict between Jon and Hal, or internal conflict, rather, between Jon and Hal. But we don't know who they're conflicting against other than each other.
Well, I don't think we even have a hint.
No.
We have zero
truly.
hints, so we don't know either.
No.
So it's they're really leaning into the mystery side of things on that front as well, which I feel like is a little bit different for the Green Lanterns.
What if Bruce Wayne just shows up and is like, hey, I'm a great detective. I'd love to help you out here.
What a weird spot for him to show
right?
up. But
Nebraska.
Right. I'd be like, oh, it's Batman. That'd be
Do
fantastic.
we know who you are? Just Bruce. Okay.
Aliens again.
Aliens again. Okay, so we're still a couple months out. At this point, I'm hoping that Lanterns continues to hold things relatively close to the vest, right? I will be curious if in another month or so after we get the Supergirl movie, if there will be any additional reveals with the show. But to me, the best foot forward is, hey, just show you exist. You don't need to go nuts with revealing anything that pertains to the plot. We just need the tone of the show.
Well, I even compare it to, when we did get Guy,
Yep.
he's a lot more bright on the screen, especially with the constructs. Those
Correct.
are bright green. And for this show, it seems like they've really done a effort to make it toned down. Like they are like, yes, it's green, but this green is worn out.
Yep.
The willpower may not be as strong as we think it is.
This is a traffic light that's been around for some decades.
Correct.
This wasn't freshly installed.
Right. It is. It's seen some things.
Yep.
And it's time to get refreshed.
Right.
So I'm guessing that's just for the tone of the show, since they're going for a more grittier, True Detective style is what they always compare it to with these guys. So,
which, by the way, that's a little risky because out of all those True Detective seasons, and I think there's been a total of 4 now, and it's a unique approach because none of the seasons experience connective tissue or returning cast members. As far as I know, as far as I've seen, they're supposed to be self-contained, independent stories. Just more of the style in which the story is told. I don't think in any of those instances have they captured the lightning in a bottle that they got with season 1 with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. So and that season was phenomenal. But there's been this pattern of TV shows and HBO in particular going, hey, let's try and do that again. And they just haven't done it with with True Detective seasons 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, so I'm a little wary of how proud they are of, hey, this is like True Detective. It's like that worked once.
right.
Are we sure that's the model to follow when the next 3 iterations have all been varying levels of okay? Like I don't think any of them have been outright bad, but I remain super excited about seeing Green Lanterns in action. Jon Stewart probably most in particular, but I'm also just so genuinely skeptical of, is this the right route to go? And we'll see. We'll see. The proof will be in the pudding, as they say, in a few months.
They always call them space cops.
Yep.
But let's be real. They are more space soldiers.
Correct.
So, I mean, look, you have Hal, who's a former fighter, is a fighter pilot.
Yep.
John is former military.
Marine. Yep.
Guy is just a brawler.
Just a dude.
That dude is
just a brawler.
he's going to be on the front lines just enjoying punching the crap out of people.
Yeah,
you don't really
correct.
get out of that military-esque
Yep.
platform until Rayner.
Yep.
Because he's just some artist guy.
Yep.
But it's just been so when those are your 3 out of the 4 main Green Lanterns are like, oh, we're here to strategize and fight criminals. It's a little different than them being on the ground and trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a different route from what we're used to. But I think it can work.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that at this point, like, we don't have any hasty. Here's my biggest concern. Okay, my most precise concern is that they're going to kill off Hal Jordan. Like, they've aged him up to tell his story in this long form show and then off him or parallax him. And Hal Jordan is a compelling character, a really compelling character. And I enjoy Jon Stewart as well. And they can coexist.
And they should coexist.
And they should coexist. The setup that we've had from this marketing has been, on the one hand, veiled, but the one item it has been so heavy-handed about is that Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, as far as we know, don't like each other. And this is the most heavy-handed piece. Hal has said, hey, the only way you're getting this ring is over my dead body. Huh. So we're being that transparent with it? I hope not. I really hope not. But that is the one qualm that I've got at this stage.
Well, and that's a weird part, too, because most of the time it's just a Green Lantern ring and another Green Lantern ring. So it's never been like training the successor to just, But at the same time, maybe Hal's going off into retirement because he's sick of Oa, because that's also kind of been made clear is that he does not get along with the people who made the damn ring.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to be in a weird space in lore with this show. So it'll be very interesting to explore just that aspect
No question.
of why Hal is the way that he is here.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he doesn't die.
Yeah.
I am hoping they don't go villain route where Parallax takes him over and then he blows up an entire city, because that is what a horrid, awful route for Hal to go out.
Yeah, we don't need that.
So I'm hoping at the end of it, he gets a ring, John gets a ring, we're all good. Everybody's alive, and Hal just gets called back to Oa and has to deal with those shenanigans. So that's what I hope. And they leave John to protect Earth.
100%. Listen, the groundedness that, again, the showrunners are choosing to be so proud of is fine if it's in regards to the character development, right? If we're going to do a slow burn there, so be it. But these characters are intergalactic. And yes, they are anchored to Earth. That's great. But there's only so much time that we can realistically have with these particular characters, with this particular skill set on Earth, before it's going to get real tedious real quick. So again, I remain excited that we're getting Green Lanterns and extremely nervous that this is the format in which they're being presented as far as we know right now.
And we're getting a lot of Lanterns, because we're getting 8 episodes, allegedly.
Yep.
And almost all of them an hour long.
Yep. And the powers that be at HBO are already spinning the wheels for a development of season 2. It's not a hard announcement, so to speak, that's been made of, hey, season 2 is fully in development, but it's in the works, so that speaks to some semblance of cautious optimism there. But as we know, anything that's in development can have the plug pulled at any given time. Speaking of in development, unless there's anything else you want to hit on as far as Lanterns go?
No, that's it for that part.
All right, so speaking of in development, James Gunn has been continuing to drop additional nuggets on DC items in development, and he gave a little tease saying that, hey, 2 of these characters are, quote, not far off out of a list of the following 6 characters that we have yet to see in the James Gunn DCU. That's Doomsday, Dr. Fate, General Zod, Black Adam, Ultraman, along with the Crime Syndicate, and Darkseid. So, Beans, my question to you is, out of those 6 names, which 2 do you think are most likely, or maybe better yet, which 2 would you like to see first and foremost?
Right. So, most likely, let's start there. We have Mr. Miracle coming out
Yep.
soon, right?
Yep.
So, Darkseid's kind of a layup here.
Yep.
I think if you're going to have Fate, I think Fate and Black Adam have been tied together thanks to the Black Adam movie.
Pretty often. Yep.
So maybe they just come together. I think the most obvious, because when does Mr. Miracle come out? Like next year?
Yeah, they still haven't released the official, or they haven't given an official release date. They're still in the firming up the cast process. So, I mean,
we're
in the middle
a
of
ways.
2020. Yeah, so middle of 2027, given that it's an animated series, is like a year from now be, I think, the earliest date that you could see that roll out. I mean, it's just not going to be a quick process. So I would, as of today, say, hey, August of 2027 would be a realistic, here's when you could expect to see it.
So I'd say Zod and Doomsday probably are your most likely in that aspect, just because of how far along we are in the Superman ethos, with 2 Superman movies, the second one on the way, Brainiac we're getting, and you have Supergirl coming out next month. I think the most obvious candidates there are going to be Zod and Doomsday.
Yep.
Personal choice, Dr. Fate would be fantastic to just have around.
Right.
Like, that's, to me, would be my number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
I am sick of Zod.
Mm-hmm.
I am...
Yep.
Doomsday,
We've had a lot of Zod. Had a lot.
Doomsday needs to be later
Down
down the line, and at this
just
point,
gonna say the same thing.
I don't want him to kill Superman.
Yeah.
I just don't. We're not ready for that. And
he's got to be able to do more than just kill Superman, because at this point, it's been done on the big screen. It's already, like, we know it's been done in comics, and so at this point, if you insert Doomsday into a movie, it's already spoiled. Like, oh, so he's just gonna kill Superman? Like, you have to do something different. You can't just do what's already been done. And the tricky thing is, though, Doomsday is just this blunt force object. So I don't really know what else there is for him to do.
And we kind of got that already with the future Bizarro
Correct.
Superman.
Correct.
That was labeled Ultraman. So I'm leaning Dr. Fate. I wouldn't mind Black Adam being around again, but again, I don't want it to be Dwayne. I don't want that to be The Rock.
Nope.
And I don't see where you squeeze him in here. The Crime Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Great.
Not ready for him.
Correct.
Way down. Like, this is Justice League 2.
There you go. Yep.
Of a movie where they come in and Justice League goes down, and then you have Luthor and the villains come in and clean house, because that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
What a great thing for Lex Luthor to do.
Correct.
So, me personally, I'm just going to say Dr. Fate. I don't think I have a number 2, because again, it's like, when you
but you're absolutely right. One of them's definitely Darkseid, because of what you already said with Mr. Miracle and what James Gunn and then Tom King, the author who wrote the Mr. Miracle miniseries that was so well received several years ago, has said that this version of Darkseid that they're going to present in the animated series is the canon Darkseid of this universe.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, Darkseid's one. So it's really just a matter of picking, okay, who's the number 2?
Yeah. And I look at, like, out of that list, a good majority of that we've already seen.
Yeah.
And I know we've seen Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
But Dr. Fate stole the show in the Black Adam movie. He
No
just
question.
did. Pierce Brosnan, by the way,
Best
what
character.
a cool pull for that whole thing. So,
and what a sad waste. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, he was phenomenal. It's like, that's going to be it for him? Come on. Come on.
I just want to see DC tap into their well of characters.
Yep.
Like, I don't even want Doomsday and Zod. I would love Metallo, for example, would be a great guy to throw in there against Superman. Again, still have Lex involved some way, shape, or form, and just have him be the guy behind it.
Right.
Give us an actual Bizarro. Bring him back in, because we haven't really had that on the screen. If you're gonna introduce Zod, throw him in Supergirl. Like, that's fine. It might actually mean more to her than it would Cal, because she knows who he is. Yeah. And again, not something I'm really like being like, do it. That's what it needs to be. Yeah. So I just want him to widen the sandbox, because
totally.
DC's sandbox.
Because there's so many options, like valid, legitimate, entertaining options.
So big, and they do such a bad job of going back to the same spots, where it's like there is a beautiful oasis over that way and that way and behind you, and you choose to go through the tiny well every time. I don't understand.
It's like someone who gets stuck on one particular kind of frozen pizza, and they're like, listen, this is the best pizza you're ever going to have. You're like, yeah, I mean, it's pizza, it's good, but it's just frozen pizza. Like, there's other great options out there. It's like, wow, there are, but this is pretty easy. I pop it in. It just takes 15 minutes. I'm good. I'm really content. It's tasty enough. Sure. But come on, there's stuffed crust. There's Chicago style. There's a lot of great choices out there. Like, have you tried Papa Murphy's? Like, come on, there's so many. Anyway, totally agree with that. And I think that's something that James Gunn is like just naturally gravitates towards, right? Is, hey, let's do something different. The irony, of course, is that he's done Superman now with Lex Luthor. However, I think it's telling that in that Superman movie, right, we had such a wide range already of characters in that movie that never even were hinted at in the previous iteration of the DCU, right? Whether it be Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, Hot Girl, right? Who am I forgetting?
Mr.
Terrific. Yeah, was outstanding. So, and James Gunn is just, by his nature, a big cast of characters kind of guy, right? Like, I've yet to see a movie that man has been a part of in the superhero genre at the very least, where it's it's just this one. It's a team. It's a family-oriented affair. Peacemaker, like the number of random characters that he drew out of that show. Again, it's not just there for better or for worse. It's not just about Peacemaker's character. It's about all these other characters around him and in his sphere. So, again, we know Darkseid's one. I agree with you. I think Dr. Fate is the more likely and hopefully the actual option. The tricky thing with Zod is he's been done so frequently, and he was actually done pretty well. Like in the Man of Steel movie, and okay, I'm going to have to duck after I say this, but they actually kind of used him pretty well in the Flash movie. Not a good movie. Not saying that was a good movie, but when they inserted him in it, it's like, all right, yep, sure, that works. He didn't have a lot to do. I'm not saying he had a lot to do. I'm just saying more from a recency of usage, we've seen quite a bit of Zod.
The Flash made him a powerhouse,
Yeah.
and that's what he needs to be.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Black Adam, I think you do want to get that character. Yeah, he's great to have in there. I think a little more time is just fine. And it's not just because of Black Adam, but if you're going to insert Black Adam, okay, Captain Marvel, DC's Captain Marvel, or now rebranded as Shazam, he's got to be there too. You can't.
and what are we doing with him?
And correct. And I'd be surprised if that's been fleshed out and fully baked yet. So kind of going process of elimination here. As you already said, they teased the Ultraman piece in the first Superman movie. So you're not really going to introduce another character that's called Ultraman.
Not this quickly.
Not this quickly. Later, of course, with the Crime Syndicate, it'll be a blast. But that's movies down the road where you've got your entire Justice League established. And we're a ways away from there yet. And again, Doomsday, blunt object. I just don't think there's much worthwhile to do there. So for me, I'm right there with you. It's Darkseid, it's Dr. Fate, and it allows DC to continue to expand on the universe building that they teased a little bit in Superman. They're going to spend time, obviously, in Galaxies in the Supergirl movie, but you get the force that is Darkseid, all that comes with it, and then you have the magic element that gets introduced with Dr. Fate. That's one of the things that the DC Comics have done an outstanding job of in the last decade and change, is really lean into the magical realm. That's been an outstanding element of their comics of late. So Dr. Fate gives you that in, and I think you want that in sooner rather than later. Gives you even more variety. And as you said, play in the big sandbox. It's huge. Go play in it. Don't just stay in the one little corner, please.
Agree.
Yeah, no question. Okay. Anything else
That's
on that front?
On that front, I think.
Glorious. Those are the news and notes we're hitting today. Let's get into the reason we're here. The Mandalorian and Grogu. Beans. We both got to see it. Me one day, you another. I think we both enjoyed it, Beans.
I think we both did.
I think we both had a good time at the movie complex. What about it did you love? What'd you question? And then, of course, you got to ask the question, is this the way for the future of Star Wars?
Well, what I loved about
I had to do that one word play.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'll stop.
good.
Maybe.
What I loved about this is it felt like we are getting Star Wars back in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at like a Clone Wars,
Yep.
per se, if you look at the original first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, we're getting this can stand alone, but the world is still connected to each other, and it works fantastic.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
One thing I really enjoyed about this movie is they fixed what was probably one of my biggest gripes with Mandalorian when they brought Grogu back.
Mm-hmm.
They did a fantastic job of making him useful.
Correct.
They did a great job being like, okay, this is not just some infant anymore.
Yep.
He is trying to be like his father, adoptive father, and he's actually contributing. And Mando actually lets him contribute.
Right.
What good or bad.
He's not just shielding him, like going, oh, stay in the back, stay in the back.
And it's not all the cutesy stuff either, where it's like, oh, look at the baby. Like, it is actually like, hey, I need you to sneak in there and unlock the door.
Yep.
And guess what?
Some utility there.
He did it great. So you know Grogu is not an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, he's not
Helpful.
he is not an infant. So that was one of my biggest gripes that they somehow figured out a way to solve, which has been great because I'm like, that I can watch.
Yep.
I can watch those two together.
Yep, totally.
So that was something that I loved. And also, are we going to talk about the Hutt?
You got it.
Rudda?
Yep. Dear sweet Rada. What a guy.
Rada?
What a guy.
I had never thought in my life that I would see a jacked hut, and yet it was phenomenal.
It looked really good.
It was
It looked so good.
good. And also, when they pull up his baby picture, I'm like, oh, they introduced him in the Clone Wars show. I was like, look at that callback. What a cool callback.
Rascals.
And just seeing the Hutt planet. By the way, another key point.
So
we
good.
did not go to Tatooine at all.
Novel idea.
Score.
It can be done.
We
It
went
can
to
be done.
an entirely new moon
Yep.
that we've never been to.
Right.
We spent a good amount of time in the Hutt's planet, which we have never gotten
Yep.
in a movie yet until now, and that was great.
Right.
So we got to see a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
They just did a great job of bringing in characters from Clone Wars, from all the other sides of Star Wars lore, plugging them in to the point where they don't feel forced and they all work cohesively, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I really just enjoyed, again, it felt like we were back in a connected universe that wasn't forced.
Yeah.
And it's just, this is a Star Wars adventure.
Right.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Also, and I don't know if this is a good point or a bad point, okay? I don't know what it is about this movie specifically. They managed to come up with the gnarliest monsters and creatures that I've ever seen in any Star Wars content, which props to all of them, because some of those things, actually most of them, horrifying when it's Rada.
Yep.
And
Mandalorian duking them
going back to back, fighting all of those. You're like,
in the gladiatorial ring.
I don't want that thing touching me.
Nope.
I don't want that thing touching
Don't
me.
want it close.
That thing can stay
They're
away from
already
me.
too close.
One of those is from Jedi: The Fallen Order.
Yes.
That video game. I'm like, oh, that guy sucks.
Pass.
I hated going up against that guy. And you threw him in there. I'm like, no, thank you. So, and then you even go to the Hutt's planet and the snake monster also, and the little water gremlin things.
Yep.
I'm like,
the preview before you get to the demon snake.
Horrid.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Pass. And it's something about the Hutts. They always have to have some stupid trapdoor well in all of their main thrones.
Yep.
And, at least with Jabba, it was just a very hairy, big monster.
Yep, just a Rancor.
Just a
Moves
Rancor.
kind of slowly, but then you get a freaking dragon snake. You're like, what?
With poison.
What are we doing here? Right, not just huge and in its element, but poison. Okay, sure, that's just the holy trifecta. You're a little surprised its eyes didn't, turn someone into stone at that point. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, a little cool thing that you learn about force healing doesn't cure poison.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm like, oh, so this thing is not like a full-on cure.
Cheat code.
Because I was worried because they didn't mention it first
Right.
because he heals it. And I'm like, well, I don't see the poison coming out of the bloodstream. So is it still in there or not? And then they're like, oh, yeah, he might just die.
Right.
You're like, oh.
Right.
Okay.
They followed their rules really well there, didn't they?
So I was just like,
Yep.
oh. So those are all the good things.
Yeah.
How about for you, the good things?
Yeah, a lot of positives, and I resonate with every positive that you just shared. It was so encouraging to have a self-contained story that I think back to the first time that I watched Star Wars, right? So the original trilogy. And part of what I don't think I was consciously aware of necessarily at the time, but especially on reflection, I realized that is a strength, is that it is dropping you as the audience member into the middle of the story. And it's not apologizing for it. It's not going out of its way to explain every little back detail. It's giving you some of the information. It's not giving you all of the information. And there's actual strength in that from a storytelling perspective, where that mystery of, well, if this equals that, then it just keeps you engaged, right? And so it's not having to answer every possible question. And I think that is phenomenal and fantastic and was a real strength of this movie, where those references you mentioned, you get to recognize them because you've engaged with Star Wars content over a good portion of your lifetime. And so it's fun that it's there, but it's not necessary, right? The movie's not going, man, you better have seen the Clone Wars episode that this character showed up in. Like, is it Zeb, right? That's the Mando's kind of not sidekick.
Yes,
but
he's in...
Like, he's a Rebels character,
yes,
correct? Okay.
Yes, I believe so.
I've never seen Rebels.
Neither have I.
But I didn't need to enjoy and appreciate his character in this movie. He just plopped in. But this is one of the great things with comics. When comics are cooking, you're reading a book and you're going, wow, this present story is outstanding. Oh, but there's some backstory here that, okay, they just touched on it, but they're going to keep moving with this existing story. I want to go back and find out more about what led to this moment. Like, that was one of the best parts of this movie, is it inspires you to engage with what came before, but it did so without making it necessary. It stayed so present, and that was such a welcome surprise. I didn't think they were going to do that as effectively as they did.
Well, and there are so many characters to do that with.
100%.
For me, it's Embo.
Yeah.
That dude,
yeah,
awesome.
Yes.
One of my new favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
And again, new to me.
Right.
Not new
Right.
in general. New to me.
Correct.
Where I'm like, this is another fuel to the fire to go finish Clone Wars.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
Right.
Because I'm like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that guy's awesome.
Right.
Let's see more of that.
Right.
So, yeah, no, 100% agree.
Yeah. So I thought that was just such a delightful treat. Okay. The action was tremendous.
It was.
Tremendous. It was so well choreographed, so well executed, and it's so dang fun. Like, it seems overly simplistic and even silly to say it out loud, but this is, and it always has been, one of the best parts of the Mandalorian character since Jon Favreau introduced it years ago, which is, this is Star Wars fighting as a Western. Like, this is like watching a old Western kind of shootout. And so it's not, and this is going to be both a compliment and a little bit of a gripe, there were a couple of moments where it felt like they leveled up Mando's physical ability to where he was just jacking people all over the place. They didn't do it too much, though. What I like the most is when it's the skillfulness of his fighting ability. Like, the reason he keeps getting into fights is he keeps walking into rooms filled with dudes that are not, that are not on his side. And they're, doing the math. They're going, it's one of him. There's a dozen of us. We got this. That's a Western. That's what they do in a Western. But then the old gunslinger, because of his skillfulness and his savvy, takes the bad guys down. And it happens over and over again in the Mandalorian show, and in particular in this movie. And it's such a freaking, like, it never gets old watching that, because it's skill. It's not, but it's not the Hulk just smashing because he can smash. That's entertaining in its own right, but that's not why we're here, right? And so one of the best parts about this movie that stayed so true to the character that we've seen in the show, but again, you don't have to have seen the show, is he can take some hits, right? And he's not invulnerable, and he's not overpowered. Like, he can be beaten, right? He can even be outwitted. I mean, Embo taking him down in his own home, it's like, dude, that shouldn't happen.
No.
Right? Embo just came to your home and took you out. Dang. But it shows, to your point, how high of a regard we should have for Embo. And so we're not watching this, and there's a place for it, to watch that exceptionally powered character. So I'm not saying I don't like those kinds of examples, but it's not the appeal of the Mandalorian. So that just self-contained nature, I appreciated it so much because it just stayed present. It wasn't worrying itself with world building, even while it was world building. But the action was incredible. The aesthetics were good. Like, this was the best looking Star Wars content I've seen outside of Andor in the last multiples of years. Okay. And that's saying something, because there's been some rough patches where you've gone, ooh, we didn't quite finish that, did we? But we're still putting it out there. Like, Rada looked incredible. He shouldn't have looked that good.
It's true.
He looked great.
And he's a Hutt.
That's a fully CGI dude. And it looked terrific. Yeah, it looked terrific the whole time. One other highlight before we keep moving through this topic. The soundtrack is so good.
It's one of the, that's not something I ever pick up on.
Yep.
To be honest with you. Like,
Yep.
that's one thing where I'm like, I notice it, but I don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Here I did, because it made me notice.
Yes.
As soon as they land on the moon,
Come on.
like, and
Yep.
the digital-esque but like remix with the Mando theme. You're like,
yes.
oh, this is kind of sick.
Yeah.
It brought me back to Coruscant a little bit.
Yep.
Back in like episode 2
Yeah.
when they're going after the bounty hunter.
Yep.
You're like, oh, okay, this is dope.
Yeah. I am not going to pronounce his name right, so I apologize. Ludwig Göransson, okay? Swedish composer.
See, it's not your fault.
It's probably Ludwig, not Ludwig. Okay, but he's been with the Mandalorian character from the beginning, and so and I'm not even going to try and like do it right now, but the Mandalorian theme that we know so well at this point, all him. And I remember hearing that for the first time at the Mandalorian show and going, ooh, that's new, but it works, and it works really well. He gave Rada a phenomenal theme as well. And so one of the fun things, like my sons and I went to this movie, and I won't get all into that experience, but it was exactly what I hoped it would be. It was their Star Wars, this is awesome moment. It hit that right dead center on the button. And so one of the ways coming out of the movie that we have continued since we saw the movie to engage with it is we've been listening to the soundtrack. And oh my goodness, there's track after track. Whereas I've just sat down and listened to it, you just got to appreciate the craftsmanship of how Ludwig creates the theme, interweaves different themes, builds on it, builds the drama. Like, do yourself a favor and listen to the fight scene in the gladiator ring, because you're going to get the Mandalorian theme, you're going to get the Rada theme. They're interwoven. He builds up the intensity to just an absolute crescendo. And yet it still sounds like Star Wars. Like, he's not out here going, hey, my name's Ludwig, I'm the man. And by the way, he is the man. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But he is somehow bringing a fresh take while staying firmly within the Star Wars sound and range. He's just done something that I didn't think was necessarily possible. He's added to it. He has expanded it in a really just like incredible way. Why is Ludwig the man? Well, he's already won 2 Oscars for Black Panther and then Sinners. Haven't seen Sinners. I know the soundtrack was highly regarded. Obviously, the Oscar speaks for itself, but you think of that Black Panther soundtrack, listening to that, I would say that's another experience in the movie theater where you're going, ooh, like you're just noticing it. It's background, but man, is that good. So,
and that's like also like the perfect like mix of like,
yes,
like out in the wild and futuristic,
yes,
because that is Wakanda.
Yes.
So it just kind of, he's able to bring that into this.
Totally.
For sure.
Totally. So there was a lot that I really enjoyed about this. It's not a perfect movie. And so I'm not saying that it is. I'm not trying to overhype it for someone's going, well, now I'm going to go see this, and they have their expectations way too high. But it gets a lot right. A lot right. Love what you said about the creatures as well. Like that, such a wide variety. And so many of them are like, I am so glad I'm not in that space with that creature right now, because holy shnikes.
Oh, they built them up, and they built them up correctly, because as soon as they come in, you're like, oh, no.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay. What'd you question, or what did you go, not sure how well that fit for this one?
I think the most noticeable thing that I take in a negative way here is easily the pacing of the movie.
Yeah.
It's easily going to be the pacing. This definitely feels like, when you are watching it, that they intended this to be season 4 of The Mandalorian, and then they're like, we kind of need to get The Mandalorian street cred back up after season 3, so let's just take all the episode spots that we've already filmed, throw it all together. Now, I know that's probably not exactly how that all went behind the scenes. That's how it felt like when it was presented to
I think
me.
it's closer to being on the button than not.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. There's more nuance in there, but to your point, it felt that way.
There are clear breaks in this movie, because watching the movie, I thought as soon as Rada was gone, movie over. And then we're back on his planet while he's fixing a ship, and I'm like, wait a minute.
We're maybe an hour in.
I look at my watch, I'm like, we still have like 40 minutes?
Yeah.
I said, really? Yeah. Where are we going? Because I feel like you just had the perfect ending, and then, no, we brought it all back in, because consequences of his own actions comes knocking on the roof of his house.
Yep.
But just the pacing of all of that, and if we really went into detail, we could probably pick out 5 episodes, in all honesty, for this. So I just thought the pacing was very noticeable on that front. I think that is the most, problem, I guess, that I had.
Yeah.
I also thought we had too much time spent on Grogu out in the wild.
Right. That was easily the biggest,
We could have trimmed this down.
We're in a bit of a lull here. Incidentally, and I couldn't have planned this any better, so I told you I went with my 3 boys. 2 of them are 6 years old. And we got one of these, or 2 of these, right? Large goblets of beverages. I had one for myself because I can hold my bladder, and the other 3 guys, like, you're all sharing this one, right? And I thought, that'll be perfect. It won't be too much. Nope, wrong. Both of my 6-year-olds separately said, I got to go to the bathroom. However, it was at that part of the movie. And so I took one of them, got back. The other one said, I got to go too. Crap. Took him, came back. Like, man, I hope I'm not missing anything. Nope, didn't miss anything. like truthfully, it was, so it worked out well for me, but it was definitely just a missed beat in the movie. Like, I understood what they were trying to do. It's like, but that was the obvious. This didn't quite stick very well.
We could have cut it in half.
Yes.
We could have cut it in half.
It was a time issue. It just needed to be half as long, and we're fine.
When I told you I wanted Grogu to be helpful, he was helpful here, kept him alive.
Yep.
We can cut
that's
down
great.
and
Didn't
still
take
get
that
to the
long.
point of him being helpful.
I wonder if they were just trying, were they trying to have the gravity of the Mandalorian being dead sink in? Like, give it a little more time. They don't want to heal him that quickly. I don't know. But if that's the case, you got to give Grogu a little more adventure than the wandering. Like, you got to give him some genuine things to tango with. Yeah. It just wasn't. It just was not a compelling 10-ish minutes of that movie. Yeah, it was slow.
Also, how did he even get out of that hut?
It's a phenomenal question.
Like, how did Jin wake up and be like?
It had to be so frustrating to wake up and go, come on.
I've been furious.
Yep, I've been anthilled.
I'm like, I get it. I get why you did it.
Yeah.
But dude, let me out, man. How's I supposed to get
Could we have found a better way? I think so. It's gonna be our first talk once we get out of the rest of these bulk shenanigans. We're gonna hone in on. So the next time, if there's a next time, let's address how to do this.
Yeah, because then as soon as he gets back up, it picks right back up, and you're like, okay, you just slowed this part down for way too long.
At least we were saved from what would have been an entire episode of Grogu.
I understand.
Right, while the Mando was in his coma, essentially. So, okay, a little bit of a gift there. But no, I'm totally in alignment with you. The pacing was very transparently. It's like, this was a TV show originally. And it worked. The thing is, it worked up to that point, I think. Like, I didn't find it distracting, personally. It was noticeable, but it wasn't to the movie's detriment until we hit that particular sequence. And it was we didn't quite figure out how to make this transition work. Yeah,
it made me miss, like, the prequels, for instance, when they just do the nice little transition slide. And it's like, oh, we're moving on to the next, like, thing.
Right.
They didn't have that.
Correct.
It was just kind of like, and maybe that's why it felt more abrupt of, like, oh, here, we're right, the next portion of where we are.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it was a little awkward. Any other pieces? I mean, the pacing's a great point. Any other pieces or elements that were just a smidge for you?
I don't have the huts gross me out.
Ooh.
The huts continue to gross me out.
Strangely okay that the dragon snake took him down. Yep. That's great. What a great way to go, by the way. And by great, I mean terrible for them, super satisfying for the rest of us.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot more of them got blown up in the whole thing, and that's fantastic. Thank you, because they're just gross people,
nasty.
Like Jabba, I mean not Jabba, but Rada's like the only one that's been chill, and even then you're like, you are still a giant ripped slug. Like, that is what you are.
Yep.
And you made it work,
Mm-hmm.
but
I'm going to root for you,
like
but I don't want to look at you.
The way that they're just crawling around,
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, slime, and you can hear it. You can always hear the sliminess. Like, ugh.
And why are the twins just next to each other all the time? Like, they were sleeping next to each other, and you're like, what is happening? This is a weird situation here.
It's not good.
And
No, it's not good.
most people probably didn't overthink it too much, but I'm just like,
It's not good. It's not what you want.
So
It's not what you want.
I was very happy that they met their end,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but that would be my only other like myth.
The only other moment that kind of stuck out for me was what felt like very forced tension that wasn't really tension in that end action sequence where the Mando is communicating to Sigourney Weaver's character of, hey, all right, on my location, blow it up. She's going, are you sure? Because we're going to do it. It's like, yep, go for it. You know they're going to be okay. It's like they're going to be fine. And also, like, the timing just never really worked either, because when he communicates that, you're like, oh, so it's happening right now. And it was actually several minutes of screen time later, and then they're finally jumping out. And so it was just any time in movies, this is kind of the old like ticking time bomb trick. Like I'm gonna pick on The Dark Knight Rises here a little bit. It's like that trope. I can't think of a time that it has. There probably is, and I'm just not coming up with it. I just can't think of a time that it's worked. It always just leads to more questions. Like, is it really? Are we really cutting it that close? We know they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine, and they're getting the edge. Like, should we jump out? It's like, they're going to jump out, and they're going to be okay. The missile's going to hit. Yep, there it is. So that was just
suspense.
Yeah, it was. That wasn't suspenseful for me as the adult that's gone. I've seen this trope however many times now in movies. For the kiddo watching it, right? They're going, oh, this is so cool. Whoa, the whole place blew up. They just jumped out. They survived. It's amazing.
And they walk off like it's just fine. And
yeah. So it just felt, with so many other excellent elements of the movie that are well developed, that just felt a little cheap.
Well, it's so funny because it reminds me of the show Archer, if you've ever seen it or not. But they've had like explosions that are close up,
right?
But they do it realistically in the sense of like,
people
always
hear.
like dealing with the hearing. And he's like, this is not good. Like, it's a running gag on that show. Or like you go back to Hawkeye, like in his show, he's got the hearing aids and they're like, what happened to you? And they just going back and show all the explosions next to him. I'm like, actually, this is how this should be.
This is how it should be. Yep, exactly. So little things like that. And again, those were few and far between, but they're still present. And it's always, whenever those crop up, it's like, you did so much else. Well, I just wonder if movie makers just run out of either time or energy, right? They're fine-tuning so much that they just have a day where they're like, this is just not my day. What do you want? Fine, go for it. But sir, did you want? I don't care. Let's just do it. And then it gets in the final cut, and they're sitting there watching it during the premiere going, crap, missed that one. Yeah, and it's just one, because there's so much that's good, but it's just those oop little moments. Yeah, it's just inevitable. Part of making it. Okay, so let's pull the lens back here a little bit and get a bit global for a minute, right? Let's get some altitude with us. Last time I'll use this wordplay. Is this the way? Is this a paradigm for what we desire in general to see from Star Wars moving forward? Because as I told you before we started recording, I think somewhat accidentally, somewhat intentionally, okay, we've had some outstanding Star Wars content in the last several years. We've had some stinkers in there as well. But this was terrific. Andor was terrific. The Skeleton Crew was terrific. And those are three different tones, three different storylines, three entirely separate sets of characters sharing a universe. And obviously we had some other not nearly as worthwhile content. I know the Maul animated series that we haven't watched yet
has been a hit.
Has been so well received. So I think there's, for as much as we've dunked, and rightfully so, on Star Wars on this pod, I think there's a paradigm developing. And one of them is, hey, make Star Wars content that intentionally doesn't have to appeal to everybody, right? Choose who it's going to appeal most to, like Andor's. It's going to be adults. Like, kids aren't going to watch that show. And
Right.
they're not supposed to. It's not going to be engaging to them. It's very drama-based. It's not action as much. This is more action, adventure. All right, fast-paced. That's fun. Skeleton Crew, tons of humor. Tons of humor. Enough action mixed in there, some good storytelling. Not the best you're ever going to see, but some good stuff. I think Star Wars has been such a, hey, you went, like, most people saw the original trilogy, or your generation saw the prequel trilogy, and it was appealing, like, to different generations in different ways. I just think that maybe that's the paradigm of, hey, pick your audience and just lean into it. Don't worry about trying to hit everybody always and make $1 billion in the box office, make hundreds of millions, still make great money. You're still going to sell tons of merch, right? You're going to make the bank. Don't worry about it. But don't try and be necessarily globally appealing. And I say that, and this movie is probably as close to being globally appealing as you're going to get.
Yeah.
So,
Because it's family oriented.
yeah, totally.
I think. So what I have always said about one of my biggest problems with Star Wars, because I've complained about Star Wars on here and how I get burned out,
though. Yeah,
right?
Yes.
One of my biggest issues with Star Wars came up. I was actually talking about this at work before we went, after we saw this, because somebody was asking me about it. And I said, Star Wars does a great job of introducing very cool characters that you want to get to know more of.
Yep.
And then their biggest crime is not doing
Anything
anything
with
worthwhile with them,
Yeah.
right? We can go back to the prequels,
Right.
and they are what they are.
Yeah.
Okay. There are so many cool characters
Agreed.
that they have introduced in the prequels
Yeah.
that you just do not get enough screen time with.
Yep.
So then when you get Clone Wars, you get all the screen time in the world with those characters. I look at this movie. This movie did it correctly, and we got really cool characters that got their time to shine, that have shown up in other spots,
Sure.
and it didn't feel forced. I think this becomes even more apparent with you and I because we've gone through and watched Phase 1 of Marvel.
Right.
We've rewatched Phase 2 of Marvel, and for all the gripes we have with current Marvel right now, what Marvel Phase 1 and Phase 2 did, for the most part, pretty well, is that they kept it connected, but it was a loose connection.
Yeah.
And when they did pop up, it's because it was believable for the most part. That's what this was. Right? You get the Hutts.
Yes.
That makes sense. They are gangsters. We're getting into that side of things. That's fantastic. You get let me pull up his name, Embo. You get Embo, who your son, props to your son. He deserved a standing ovation, and he will get one from me the next time. From watching Clone Wars, pulled Embo out of his tuchus.
And I had no idea. I'm like, who? I don't think that's that guy.
And guess what?
And he was right.
I would have said the same thing as you did if I would have gotten to go with you guys. I would have been like, Wes, how do you know that guy? I've never seen him. So anyways, that's probably some of the most positive thing I can say. And if you even look at the original trilogy of Star Wars, right? I think the most I can say is, even with the original, it is not a direct sequel. It's not like this, and this. There is a period of time that we don't see between 4 and 5 and 5 and 6.
Good chunks of time.
Right.
Yeah, really healthy chunks of time.
We go back to the prequels. It's the same thing. Episode 1, we have small little child Anakin. And then, teen Anakin.
Right. Legit teen.
And then
adult. Yeah.
So we don't get to see the full fleshing out of even Anakin.
That's why there's room for a Clone Wars TV show.
And it works well. Yeah. And that's what Star Wars figured out. They're like, you're saying if people would actually be interested in seeing the full length of what happened during the Clone Wars? Yes, the answer is yes. So they just need to continue to, instead of focusing on, and this is where Marvel also hung up, right? Instead of focusing on the big end goal, right? And getting to the big end goal. And they're like, okay, we have to do this, this, and this to get to the end goal. Focus on one movie. Just focus on the one movie and one story you want to tell. And if it has impacts outside of it, fantastic. Let's feel that in a different movie.
Yes.
Okay? Because as I'm looking up clips for our upcoming top 5, I forgot the twins were in Boba Fett. I did. And then they show up. I'm like, they were here. Crazy.
But that's to your points, using it well. It's not using it as you have to have known that the twins were in the Boba Fett show. It just works. Like it's an added bonus if you saw and remembered that show in that moment. But it's self-contained in the moment in the show, and it's self-contained in the moment in the movie.
So, and it goes even further because now, whatever happens next, maybe it's not even Mandalorian, maybe it's something else. We now have a Hutt-less Star Wars. So what is the impact of taking out this giant mafia organization, essentially, in space? What are the lasting effects on that? Is there going to be a power vacuum where somebody else is going to sneak out? I can't wait to figure that out.
Yep.
So I think Star Wars just needs to, and this goes for all movies, focus in on your 2 hours of content that you want to tell.
Yeah.
And again, if you're going to go in and make a trilogy, that's fine.
Yeah.
But give yourself the 3 stories that you want to tell.
Right.
And they're going to impact each other, but you should be able to go into the theater, not have to watch the previous or the sequel series to understand what's happening.
And I think what you're saying is 100% correct. I think we've seen that fatigue be experienced with Star Wars. We've seen it being experienced more recently, or just as recently, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? And without question, whatever format you're taking, whether it's the movie, and I think this is another critical adjustment now that Star Wars is going to need to make, is with the TV show. You need to make that season of the TV show self-contained. You just do. You just do. It can't be we're dramatically building off of you have to tell the story and you have to complete the story, right? Don't lead us with cliffhangers. I think in a lot of ways that this is going to be a bit of a hot take. So I'll gladly be wrong with this, okay? But I just think that the sheer volume of content that's out there available for any one of us audience members to consume is so much that you have to shorten up your storytelling. Like, you can't have a TV series that is constantly calling back to the past. It can build, but it has to build in a very present way, okay? Here's maybe a weird example, but we're going to risk it anyway, all right? My oldest son, Wes, who's 10 years old, right? So much of being a parent is just being present, right? Like, I'll look back at pictures, like they'll just pop up on my phone of, oh my gosh, there's Wes who's 2 years old. I don't actively throughout my day think of Wes as a 2-year-old, right? And how I interact with him now. I think of him now in this season of his development and our relationship as a son and a father. And that's not to say that, like, thinking back on him as a 2-year-old or 4-year-old and whatnot isn't helpful at different points in time. But what matters most is tackling the present challenges, trying to build a little bit for the future, calling back a little bit to the past, and like, hey, remember when you couldn't do this very well, and that was a couple years ago. Now you can do it well. Isn't that cool that you've grown in that way? So there's helpful ways to call back to the past and to look ahead to the future. But so much of this is being present in the here and now. Okay, I think it's so much of that way with Star Wars, of be present wherever you're at. Just be present. Like, whenever the next Mandalorian content comes out, can it do this again? Can it live in its own story, tell its own chapter of that story without folks having to go back and watch season 2 or 3 or the movie? And I think that is the challenge. Can you be disciplined enough to tell a fresh story and end it in that season? Not have it be this open-ended, well, wait till... I don't need any teases of what's going to come next. Just wrap it up right here and right now, and I'll come back for the next adventure when it comes around. I do think, I've said this before many times, even though this worked great as a movie, I do think that the best foot forward for Star Wars is actually in the TV show format. I really do. And they can pick their spots with their movies. This worked, okay? Star Wars Starfighter that we're going to get next summer, Probably going to be a blast. It's Sean Levy directing. It's Ryan Gosling starring. That's going to be a ton of fun. Probably. Okay. Yeah. I actually think that the Obi-Wan show that we got a couple years ago, that probably would have worked a lot better as a movie, right? Like, not as a show. Like, tell that story, but tell it in a 2-hour movie, and we probably got a banger on our hands. So there's spots, but I think the bulk of the content, especially considering that you have Disney Plus that almost everyone has, like, it's not hard to get people to watch a TV show anymore in terms of access. It's right there. It's available. It's actually getting harder and harder to get people to go to the movie theater. So I think Star Wars can still get the attention that it needs to succeed, and I think it can tell terrific stories developing those characters, right? I think there's a lot of great examples of, the show worked across years now, both animated and live action. Lean into that and winnow down on when you're going, here comes a feature film. That's fine. Throw one out there every so often, but it doesn't need to be a regular part of the feed. I think they're going to be stronger in general in that format.
That's fair. And Star Wars has done something magical that not a lot of franchises can say that they've done, in the sense of they have made fantastic animated shows to the point where the average adult is not afraid to go watch a cartoon.
Correct.
That is a feat, because...
But think of how hard it was for Clone Wars when it was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason that it got canceled. Not because it wasn't good. It wasn't telling a good story. It just couldn't get the eyeballs. That's not a challenge anymore. Right? Thanks, Disney.
But like my dad.
Yep.
He's like, oh, have you seen The Bad Batch?
Right.
I haven't.
Right.
He did.
He
watched The Bad Batch. I'm like, hold on. You went and watched the whole Bad Batch? He's like, yeah. And he's watched some of Clone Wars.
Right.
By the way, not my influence.
Yes.
That man did that on his own.
Yeah.
So to be like, for him, at his age, no offense, Dad, to go like, you know what? I know this is animated and this looks like it's supposed to be for kids. It's Star Wars. Let's watch it. Let's see what's going on.
100%.
And lo and behold, it's good for adults too. So, and my hot take is the best form of media when it comes to shows and movies and stuff is animated TV.
Mm-hmm.
That is my personal opinion. I will die on that hill.
I love that. Yeah.
But whatever. Next
safe
thing.
place.
Yes. That's all I have. But I think good points.
Yeah, that's great. We'll wrap this topic by saying this. This gives such a healthy injection of hope into the future of Star Wars that we needed, right? Star Wars is going through some real leadership changes at the top. There's no doubt that just from a core creative perspective, that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have some really special synergy between the two of them. One scene that I want to call out real quick, I was watching a couple interviews with both of those guys, and they were talking about how the scene, I believe it's when Mandalorian and Grogu have to deal with the two massive, I'm just going to call them like Frankenstein droids that are outside of the twins. I didn't realize this, but apparently like those two droids, a lot of that was like stop motion filming. Okay, so that like these were built out models, and I don't know if they're like truly to scale, but just hearing Jon Favreau speak to the collaboration that he was able to have with the gentleman that designed and constructed both those physical robots and just the style of filming, it's like, protect these dudes at all costs. Like protect them, because they are so dialed into the combination with Filoni of the lore and Favreau of the quality of the aesthetic and the quality of the filmmaking, that when you've got that as your core, now you just need to not like get out of your own way in a lot of instances and let your talent cook. And when they have ideas, by all means, bat away the crazy ones. But I think it's pretty safe to say that John and Dave don't have the crazy ideas. Like they got the good ones. So keep letting these guys go after it.
I agree.
They're tremendous. Okay. A lot of great stuff on that topic. Let's move into another great topic, a classic. JP and the Beans, top 5. Today's top 5 are the top 5 Star Wars bounty hunters. Beans, without further ado, you go first.
Yeah, my number 5. This might be a bold take for number 5.
That's
I have
great.
Boba Fett at 5.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because his show was just kind of took his aura out of it for me, maybe. But
in the sense they brought him back to life?
yeah, maybe a little.
Yeah.
Maybe a little. Or just because, like, the show just was not that fantastic.
Wasn't great.
It wasn't that fantastic.
Yep.
So, but just for the cred, like, I kind of just had to put him at 5. So that's kind of why Boba's living at 5.
That's fine.
The one that didn't make my list that I almost put over him was his dad, Django, just because I remember when Django was in Clone Wars, I'm like, this dude is awesome.
Yeah.
This dude's sick.
Yeah.
And then head decapitated by Mace Windu. But
Dead.
Which-
Very dead.
by the way, instant. Like,
Yep.
you're just like, oh, he's done.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
Go on.
But yeah, so Boba Fett at 5 for me.
That's great. My number 5 is IG-11. First of all, terrible name, and I'm really saddened by that. But this droid, okay, so there's a couple versions of this droid bounty hunter. IG-88 is an iteration that was in the original, what I'm going to call original trilogy timeline. So Darth Vader deployed this dude to go do some of his dirty deeds. But just the sheer fortitude of this son of a gun. You would think, okay, droid bounty hunter, this really shouldn't work. But this guy has visual ability to see all around him. And then he's got the rotating body that allows him to really attack and address any angle at any given time. And here's the really fun part. Dude's not afraid to blow himself up, right? Gets in the super tight spot where he's going, well, I'm not going to be taken alive, and just boom, annihilates himself along with everybody around him. That's pretty hardcore. So that's my number 5. My number 4, this is a total cop-out, I'll admit it. I can't pick between Django and Boba, okay? On the one hand, you got Django, right? Who, all right, he's there, and he's the origin of the clones. Pretty cool, right? He survives against Obi-Wan, all right? Not bad, not bad. But then, of course, he gets decapitated by Mace Windu, who just doesn't have a lot of screen time, right? You're like, it was just a little brief. He showed his fortitude, but just didn't get to hang out for very long. But it's kind of the same thing with Boba, right? Like in the original trilogy, he's there. He hardly has anything to say. He just looks awesome, right? The first time you watch, you're going, more of this, more of this, more of this. Sarlacc? What? So they both look really cool. They both have their moments. I just couldn't pick. So they're both sandwiched in there as a very weak sauce number 4 by me.
Fair enough.
Yep.
My 4.
Fully transparent. That was weak, and I did it anyway.
Fair enough. My number 4 spot is Embo. Just because of this movie. Just Mando and Star Wars.
So good.
His entrance, by the way, they give him a wolf, which is just badass. Okay, he comes in with his wolf, and again, we get into the Western style feeling.
Yeah.
Him just kind of walking outside where it's dark and rainy, and you're like, oh, who's this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And then his one-on-one fight with Mando in the huts
Incredible.
was sick.
Yep.
While Grogu's just dealing with the dog,
Right.
which is hilarious.
Right.
He's like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna chill out, dog. But they are going
So
back to
funny.
back. He is so fun to watch fight. His weapon arsenal, sick.
Mm-hmm.
Give me more of that guy.
Yeah.
Give
Yeah.
me more of that guy.
Clearly a really skillful fighter.
Oh, for sure.
Totally.
All right. My number 3, Cad Bane.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to being a kid watching Clone Wars as it was coming out on Cartoon Network. And I see the trailer for this guy. I'm like, I've never seen that guy before.
Mhm.
And then you watch the episode, and I believe I just rewatched like some clips. I'm pretty sure it's the one where he's going to go capture some senators for whatever reason, right?
Yeah. Just cuz.
But he immediately takes over the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And he is established as like the next big bounty hunter after Django's death. So he's the guy. But when you listen to him talk, like, holy crap, like, scene stealer. His voice is so cool.
The voice is tremendous.
I even go back to Boba Fett, and now his look is a little rough in Boba Fett compared to the animated. Okay. There was a weird part in the jump. I think he looks more badass animated.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
he still, in Boba Fett, has the aura. When he walks in, you're like, oh, people are going to die.
Yeah.
And he's not going to care.
Yeah.
So I have Cad Bane personally at number 3 for myself.
That's fantastic. My number 3 is Embo. So we're going to have some overlaps here, which is great, fun, and fantastic and wonderful. Yeah, Embo's skill set is tremendous. Like the fact that his dome piece is that functional is incredible. Like you said prior to recording, a little bit like Cap's shield. Like, yeah. And he's using it intentionally, not as a desperate, but more as a intentional utility. That's pretty dang savvy. That's pretty dang cool. I wish they would have given him, at least in this movie, a few more things to say. Like, I'm not sure if he said anything. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
It weirdly added to him, though.
It did. It worked. I just wanted to hear what his voice would sound like. Now, here's the fun thing, right? You mentioned the dog. Can you imagine, like, Embo's going kind of back and forth, and people are talking to him like, hey, so good guy, bad guy? He's like, I don't know. It's like, well, maybe this will help you. If you decide to be a bad guy, we'll give you this freaking space wolf. It's like, done. He's like, sold. I am in 100%. I would respect that. I respect that because it's a great add-on to the character. My number 2 is Cad Bane. The look is tremendous, and really this was probably the first time that you got the Old West look in Star Wars, because he looks just peeled straight out of Old West and plugged right into the Star Wars universe with the flat hat, just the cowboy gunslinger coat look, just tremendous. I loved what you said about his voice. It's so friggin' good. It just reeks of, whew. Yep. Okay, let's not get on this guy's bad side. And I didn't watch all of the Book of Boba Fett show. I did watch the portions that had Cad Bane, and I thought it was great. I agree with you. I think there was something, and I can't quite put my finger on it, something just a little, I'm going to say, off with the design. And it wasn't because it was inaccurate. It was clearly pulled straight from the animated series. It's like, okay, maybe it's just like the tone of his skin that they needed to go a different hue.
It was a little bit
blue.
of the head. The eyes were a little off, I think.
Yeah. So I think they just didn't quite get the color gradient right there. But, nitpicking a little bit. As far as bad guys and bounty hunters go, Cad Bane, that's my number 2.
My number 2 from the Book of Boba Fett, probably the best part of the Book of Boba Fett, I have Black Chrysanthemum.
Yep.
However you want to pronounce it. The Wookiee. Okay.
Yep.
First of all,
the big bad Wookiee.
First of all, he's a Wookiee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is probably what a Wookiee should have been all the time. Like what they should all be, right?
Well,
Kashyyyk should just be a world of bounty hunting Wookiees.
Well, and you remember, like, in the original trilogy where they're talking about, like, oh, don't piss off Chewie.
Yes.
Because they are known
pull your
to
arms off. Yeah.
You watch him do this.
Yep.
Multiple times.
Yep.
And also, you know what else would be awesome for the Wookiee to have? Taser. Like,
come on, like gauntlets.
Yes. Taser.
Yeah.
The brass knuckles.
Sure.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So you're just watching him punch and then electrocute his victims.
Unfair.
And he's got some guns and stuff that he uses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this guy's sick.
Yeah.
So
that's
Black Stanton, bring him back for the love of God. That was awesome.
Good point.
Number 1 on the list, it's Din Djarin.
Yep.
It's the Mandalorian. Listen, this is who Boba Fett and Jango wish they were.
Correct.
That is that is what we should have gotten from them on screen.
Yep.
And they decided, let's just make it a whole new character that we can all get behind, and we'll make him a good guy. And I mean, look at it. Like, he changed the game. Everybody loved that armor from Jango and Boba, and they're like, okay, let's do this. Let's give him some actual cool lore to go into it. Like, the Mandalorian culture as a whole, even though he is a part of, like, the religious sect that doesn't show their faces, still phenomenally fascinating for his character.
Yeah.
And also, really cool thing that they did in this movie, Mando and Grogu.
Yep.
His helmet comes off, and instead of freaking out and blah blah blah, he's like, "Oh, you're dead now." Which I much appreciated.
He's like, "I'm okay. You're just gonna have to die now."
They're like, "Haha, we disgraced you." He's like, "Only if you live." And you're like, "Oh, all right. I love this. Let's go." Yep. So it's Mando, baby, at number 1 for me.
Yeah. Oh, totally the same here. I love so much the wide variety of his arsenal. Okay. And I don't know where you fall on the Darksaber being lost over the course of the show. The one thing that we didn't get to see that I wish he still had and was still using was the spear. Like, that thing was a lot of fun. to watch in action, but I mean, it's almost like watching just like peak Batman, right? In Star Wars at times, except he's willing to kill and he's using laser guns. It's like, it's fantastic, but the varying grappling hooks, the flamethrower, it's like, oh my gosh.
Iconic.
Yep. Oh, it's so fun. So, and again, just the skillfulness with which he battles is great. And he can and will take a hit. So he's not this souped up, overpowered, just bro. It takes skill. And so no doubt. We don't have to overthink this. It's Mando number 1.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question. Beans. Well done. Another phenomenal top 5. Do you have anything else for the good people?
That is all that I have.
What a great time. What a great time. Let's bring it home, shall we?
On that note, Godspeed.
Peace.